All right, welcome. My name is Tyler Vaughn, and I am the Vice President with Big Dreams. Wanted to quickly introduce myself, and obviously, we are happy to have you working with us on this particular job, and hopeful that as we need more work, and should this go well, we can keep your profile relevant and loop back to you because getting the right people and working with the right people, it's really extremely important to us. So thank you so much for applying. And obviously, at this point, um, we're happy to have you be a part of this. So I know that there is a quick turnaround time on this job. So let me not waste any time. Explain the necessary task involved in completing this job, and not only completing this job, but completing this job with 100% success and efficiency. So you'll notice that I'm looking kind of ahead of you, but you've been given a suite process, and it's just essentially the process for this job. Provided to you is a link to this folder, raw price lists. This folder contains all of the price lists that we need um, when in PDF form converted. We'll cover that. There's actually another process for this that I'll share, and you will have. So when you come to a PDF, you're going to have to convert it. Relatively simple, but just one extra step. Majority of these are in actual Excel format, as you notice. And believe it or not, my experience, and I say this, I'm sure you might have to do it one time. But my experience is, as you go through these, believe it or not, you don't need to convert them to a Google Sheet. You can just copy directly from this window here. So if I wanted to copy this, I would just drag, drop, um, Control C or right click copy, and then I can just paste it in immediately directly like that. So real simple. I'm sure you have a very good understanding of computers as well as Google Sheets, Google Drive, and then more importantly, just the simple functions of a spreadsheet. So I'm not going to go into details with that. But the other link that you have will be linked to this master price list raw spreadsheet. So very quickly, this is going to be just kind of the intro video. I like to do smaller videos, um, a few of more of them, but the overall time adds up, so it's all about the same. But anyway, so just taking you through the master price list raw. Item number, stock number, and company number, those are all essentially the same thing. You'll notice that I have notes on some of these that I just want to make sure you understand kind of what we're looking for. So if you're familiar with how notes are done and comments are added in spreadsheets, it's this little triangle in the upper right corner that will tell you, and if you hover over the cell, it'll also tell you that I've added something. So again, not going to go through extreme detail here. That's what the notes are for, and I don't want to assume you know nothing or assume you know everything, so we try to help out and be as clear as possible. So the item number, stock number, and company number. This is usually an internal numbering system. There could be some letters. It's sometimes it's the first few letters of the actual item product name. So I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be. It very much changes from manufacturer and brand to manufacturer. I mean, it's just kind of an internal numbering structure that's utilized by the manufacturer we're buying from. The product and item UPC, or the product or the item UPC rather. This is kind of how I often see this on spreadsheets and price lists. So I wanted to include both of them. They're one and the same, and a lot of times it just has UPC. So those are all kind of the same numbers that we're looking for, I guess. So that's that category. Pretty simple and straightforward. Item and product description as we go through this. The item and product description is oftentimes literally just the name of the product or the description. If it's a let's say it's a protein bar, it might be one protein bar, one brand that has 10 different variants, so 10 different flavors. And if a company is selling that one bar in the 10 different flavors, most times this will be where you figure out the difference between them. So if it's one's cherry, one's apple, one's peach, one's strawberry. So you might have peach, cherry, strawberry. So that's just a real simple. I mean, that's kind of describing the product that we're buying a little bit more specifically. The case size, this is important and not always included though. It just tells us when we buy them, it's going to tell us how many are going to come in a case, and it helps us just understand a lot of the logistics side of things as well as more importantly, are we getting the right margins? Because if the price is X and we get 12, when we go to resell them, that helps us understand, if this is a product that meets our criteria and standards to purchase. So it is important. It is not necessary to run through Price Checker, and it is not always included. So there are a few variables. If it's there, we ask you please copy and drop it in. It is important information, but it is not critical to running the spreadsheet, which is what this job essentially is all about. Creating the spreadsheet, dropping in, pulling the information from the master list, the master folder that you have access to, and you'll notice when you start to go through them that there are a lot of price lists have an overabundance of information that we don't need all of it. And unfortunately, to run these price lists through Price Checker, which is why this job has been created for you, we have to have them all in the same format. So we have to go through the process of getting rid of what we don't need, pulling in what we do need, and then creating a master list so that we can send it through the system and then it can read it appropriately. So you'll notice, if I haven't said it, the items in red are necessary and critical. So those are things we always need copy and pasted in at a minimum. All the other stuff, if it's there, it is important. So try to capture that if possible. Purchase and wholesale price, that's the price we buy this product, or in some cases, if it is a case, that is the purchase price that we are buying it at. I'm going to show you an example in the next video that is a little tricky, and I'll take you through kind of understanding how you would deal with a price list like this. So that will be in video 2. But purchase and wholesale price, again, this is what we would buy it at. The retail cost, this is the average price that it would sell at. That a lot of times is based on the manufacturer's pricing or the brand pricing. That's just the suggested retail price. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's essentially 50% more in terms of between the wholesale and the retail cost. So typically the retail cost, if you did the math and you cut that in half, just the standard wholesale price in most cases is almost half of the retail cost. Not always the case, just kind of depends on the margin. So that's kind of irrelevant, but does give you a little bit of background information on the pricing. The MAP is a common term used in this particular line of work, which is the minimum advertised price. Again, not critical, but it is important for us to know in terms of selecting the products that as we figure out and we filter and we identify products to buy. If the sweet spot of pricing to move a lot of products is $1, but the company that we're buying from says you're not allowed to sell it below $1.50, then we have a bit of a problem, because it might not sell as much, and therefore it's not as enticing of a product for us to go buy. So MAP is the minimum advertised price. It is important, not critical to your job here in running it through Price Checker, again, which is the final step that we'll go through in a later video. This is the master price list, where you will see in the next video that we will have you take this information from all of these price lists, copy, paste, essentially into the appropriate columns here, and that will help us in the process of your job, which is getting this master raw list collected, and then essentially the last function would be to run it through Price Checker. So just a quick look at the tools and the spreadsheets you're working off of and the locations you're working off of. We'll take this video and end it now, and the second video you'll be watching will take you through very simply essentially pulling the information, literally just copying and pasting it over, and then really getting into, when you come across a price list where there might be some conflicting or confusing data that you see, how to interpret that, which is incredibly important. If I don't explain and we don't explain to you, what information and why it's there, how it's different, and you put it in the wrong column, for example, that actually is going to create a serious problem. It will get read in Price Checker. It will get read incorrectly, and therefore it actually is going to create more work for us, because if we don't catch it, we might be losing out on opportunities to make some money, and unfortunately that's just not going to work in our line of business. So Look for that in the second video, and we'll sign off now. Make sure you reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.